Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending wherever you are in the world, and welcome back to the channel. And in today's video we are going to be looking at Joshua Zirkzee and how he can improve Manchester United, and how in the latter part of the video how he can actually improve and help Rasmus Hojlund in this Manchester United team. First, we're going to look at kind of the profile of player that he is, how I think he will probably play along with some of the other players. But we're going to be looking at kind of Ten Hag's tactic towards the end of the season, which was something that we played against Newcastle, Brighton, and of course Manchester City as well. But there were quite a few different variations. So to begin with, we're going to be looking at Joshua Zirkzee, a 23-year-old striker. He's from Netherlands. He is, I think, 6'3", 193 centimeters. I believe that's 6'3". So he's a really tall centre forward. His kind of profile is less of a out-and-out number 9 than it is a false 9 / number 10. He has incredible feet, his skills. He keeps the ball really close. He has tight control. His vision of passing as well, linking. It's everything kind of that Rasmus struggled with in last season, which is why I think it's actually a really good addition for Manchester United. I think he's going to be a player that we can utilise in many different roles, and I think he opens up a lot of kind of possibilities for this team and Erik ten Hag especially. So we're going to look at kind of the 4-3-3 shape, 4-2-3-1 kind of system that Ten Hag went with as of last season, and kind of went towards the end, as I said, when we played against Newcastle, Brighton and Manchester City in the cup final. He had Bruno Fernandes and Scott McTominay as the two furthest ones forward. It was more of a 4-3-3 against Newcastle, where Fernandes was the false 9 and then Scott McTominay was also helping getting forward and making those runs, which he did really successfully during the season. That's what Scott McTominay was good at, getting into the box, getting onto the end of things, not so much kind of the build-up. So he found a way how to utilise his players the best, and kind of make their strengths something that was just natural in the system. So having the false 9 in Bruno allowed Bruno to kind of drift either left or right, come deep, and then allow the kind of wide players who were Garnacho, I think Rashford also played, Amad Diallo as well on the right hand side. So there were quite a few players who could play in multiple positions, but this is how I think he and Joshua Zirkzee could set up if he continues with this kind of system. So obviously we have Onana in goal, we have Dalot at right back, Luke Shaw at left back, Martinez and De Ligt. So you will see a couple of new players in here. They have not been confirmed at all, but I personally believe that these two players in De Ligt and Ugarte, as you can see as the holding midfielder, are two players that Manchester United are really close to signing, especially De Ligt. There has been new kind of news with Ugarte that there's been a verbal agreement or something along those lines where he is set to join Manchester United, but until we kind of get confirmation or here we go from Fabrizio, nothing is confirmed. So just take these with a pinch of salt. You could of course replace De Ligt with Harry Maguire, Johnny Evans, Cambuala, Victor Lindelof, and Ugarte you could replace with Casemiro. To be honest, I think he's really the only number 6 that we have. We have a young lad coming through in the name of Collier, who will be probably going on tour, and that's when we can get a better look at the type of player that he is. But yeah, what I wanted to say firstly though, if you guys kind of want some videos like this in terms of tactics and how Manchester United could set up and how their pre-season goes, let me know, because I could definitely watch the game and draw something up similar to this and kind of explain how we played and what we're maybe trying to do and trying to get used to in pre-season, because we're going to have a few players back, like Marcus Rashford will be there because he had a completely free off season, which was really nice. We're going to have I think a few of the youngsters go as well. I assume Amad Diallo will be there. Potentially Delo and Fernandez. It depends. They might have an extra week off. They might be on tour. It all depends. So if you guys want to see that, make sure you let me know in the comments as well, and also hit the like button on this video. You guys have been amazing with the Manchester United stuff, and it's been really appreciated. So that's why I'm doing another one for you. But yeah, we're going to look at kind of this system with Ugarte as the number 6. We definitely need a ball playing and kind of a super aggressive midfielder. With Casemiro, he was that, but unfortunately his legs have gone, so we do need a replacement. I think Ugarte being very close would suit that down to the ground as well, whether it be a 4-2-3-1 or even a 4-3-3. Kobbie is going to be playing on the left hand side, which I think he's been doing for England as well in the Euros. He has been everywhere, and arguably, in my opinion especially, has been England's best and most influential midfielder in the Euros. Somebody that can drive past multiple people, get people involved. He should have had an assist to Phil Foden as well, who nutmegged the goalkeeper and unfortunately stopped on the line. But things like that, I think this season especially, is something you're going to see a lot from Kobbie. Him getting forward and not being played so far back. It will allow and kind of unlock Kobbie's potential going forward, which I really hope to see. Bruno as well in the midfield. We have Amad Diallo, who in my opinion needs to start more games, needs to play more games as well. I think that right hand side could be played by multiple people, whether it be Diallo, Anthony if he's a lot better, or even Mason Mount, as I put in the last video. If you haven't gone and checked that out, make sure you do. I kind of explain everything and how Ten Hag could play. And then Garnacho, and you obviously have Rashford out on the left as well. So Joshua Zirkzee is a number 9, but with kind of how he plays, and I'm going to show you how with this system Ten Hag could potentially play with it. So we're going to skip forward to this one. So Ten Hag invariably likes building up in a 3-1-6. He has done pretty much throughout his career, and he has tried implementing it as much as possible at Manchester United as well. So yeah, with the 4-3-3, it obviously, you can either have Ugarte who drops into one of the centre-back roles, whether that be splitting the centre-halves, whether that be going left or right, which he's done as well with Christian Eriksen, somebody who's more inclined to kind of dictate the tempo, especially against the lesser sides, or the sides that we're going to have more of the ball. But I think Luke Shaw, Martinez and De Ligt, or whoever is going to be on that right side, those three, especially Luke Shaw, with his kind of age getting up there and his injury history, I don't think that Luke Shaw is going to be the type of player to bomb on continuously all games. So sitting him in this kind of reserved back three, where of course he can make overlaps or underlaps, will really suit him. Martinez being obviously the leader in the middle, and then De Ligt out on the right. All three fantastic ball carriers, all three really good at progressing passes too, and I think it will really help kind of his system. Ugarte being obviously the pivot in midfield, Dalot out on the right, Garnacho staying out on the left, which his heat map predominantly in every single game is so wide, because he likes getting the ball super wide. He likes them being able to either dribble at his man, take him on. He's got a really quick kind of burst of speed to get past people, and if he improves his final delivery and decision making, I think this season he could have an immense season in terms of stats, and that's only going to help with Zirkzee. So Zirkzee likes to drop off, likes to link play as well, and this is kind of where you're going to see Bruno and Zirkzee kind of almost parallel to each other in position wise. So if you look at the game against, I think, Brighton, even Newcastle a little bit, there was almost a 4-2-2 where you had obviously the back four, then you would have Kobbie and whoever it was, Amrabat, as the two kind of pivots. Then in front of those, almost like a box, you would have Scott McTominay and Bruno, and then out on the left you would have Garnacho, out on the right you would have Amad Diallo. So just basically replace Scott McTominay with Zirkzee, and immediately you're going to kind of see how good Zirkzee is at linking the play, arriving in the box late. He likes to peel off defenders and not kind of attack the front post as much as, let's say, a Rasmus. As I said, he's not an out-and-out number 9, but being able to kind of drop a little bit deeper and then allowing that space for Garnacho, for Diallo. We do have a lot of wingers with a lot of pace who like to score goals, and to be honest, this is where I think Marcus Rashford, especially if he does end up playing out on the left and let's say Garnacho out on the right, this is where Marcus Rashford's space is going to come from. Zirkzee's movement is going to be really clever and kind of drag defenders away, and then obviously if he's not marked, Marcus can give him the ball and Zirkzee can then kind of create or take more shots than Rasmus from a deeper area, but also it's just going to open up so much more space for Rashford to do what he does best in scoring goals. His kind of best seasons are from scoring an absurd amount of goals from left wing rather than kind of setting up loads. So with Zirkzee, I think it gets the best out of Garnacho and Rashford. Also, it allows Bruno not just to be the one creative outlet, because if a team kind of clamps down on Bruno, we really suffer in terms of creativity. Now that just offers something else. And then Kobbie also on this left hand side is going to be able to, already has great relationship with Garnacho and can link up, and then Zirkzee as well. So it almost unlocks everybody's potential offensively on the ball. Zirkzee as well is no slouch when it comes to the defensive side. I think he when it comes to defending, he's in he's either first or second for like interceptions, presses and all that stuff in Serie A this season. So he's definitely a forward that likes to press from the front, just like Rasmus. So he's not going to kind of be a defensive liability. But instead of seeing just out and out goals, I guarantee you're going to see more and more assists from Zirkzee. We're going to become a more fluid team, and especially if we play Amad Diallo out on the right, another creative winger. He's got great feet. He can find a pass. Obviously, he can score a goal, which he did against Liverpool, and then get sent off for holding his shirt up. But those are the types of plays that you're going to be able to see with Zirkzee unlocking so much space, either with his clever movement or faking a run to the near post, drop him to the penalty spot where either Garnacho, Rashford or even Diallo can find him. He's clinical on both feet as well. It's very difficult to stop him either going left or right. Joshua Zirkzee, he can shoot off his weaker left foot, which he did quite often. This is why I've kind of put him towards the left. More often than not, his goals came from drifting over to the left hand side, whether it be a finesse shot with his right or a low shot across goal with his left, which is why I think he'll kind of prefer this left hand side and have a really good relationship. As I said, only being 23, Garnacho being I think 20 and Kobbie being 19, it's a really good future for Manchester United, especially on this left hand side. But the other question is, can Joshua Zirkzee and Rasmus Hojlund kind of play together, which is where we're going to move to next. So this is a 4-4-2. So it's obviously Onana in goal, Dalot, De Ligt, Martinez and Shaw. It's the exact same team, but instead of Bruno being a number 10, you now have him out on the right hand side. So this is kind of where I'm going to take off from my last video or my previous video with Bruno Fernandes being on the right hand side. He's going to be able to come in inside, especially with Ugarte on the same kind of side as him, the right hand side. Ugarte is going to still stay a little bit deeper, but then Bruno can come in, allowing Dalot to overlap, which is one of his strong suits, getting the ball kind of down this right hand side. He's got very good crosses. Unfortunately, not a lot of assists. I think it was like 3 or 4 throughout the entire season, just in the Premier League, Dalot. But his delivery will cause a lot of problems, especially if we have two strikers. So Rasmus Hojlund and Zirkzee, both being 6'3", not great in the air, but more often than not, Rasmus's movement especially will get him a lot of chances at the near post, and then complement Zirkzee, who will try and find a little bit space for either a missed clearance or the ball just finding him because Rasmus takes away the last defender. So in a 4-4-2 shape, this is just kind of the defensive side of it, and of course against stronger opposition this could naturally change. If it is, let's say, Bruno and Zirkzee up front, or Bruno and Hojlund, it doesn't really matter, but it could be kind of Fernandes, Hojlund up front, Diallo out on the right, and then when we're defending, it will drop into a 4-2-3-1, which is very easy to do. Or we just stay in a flat 4-4-2 shape with obviously Bruno up front, and then I know a quicker winger, Rashford out on the left, sorry, and then Garnacho out on the right if you want to counter-attack teams. This formation especially has a lot of flexibility, and me personally, I think it's the best way of getting the best out of both strikers if you wanted, or if Ten Hag wants to get, if he wants to play them both together. So we're going to move on to kind of how this would look in terms of going forwards. Now, again, he does like to build up in a 3-1 system, but if you kind of take the extra defender out, which is Luke Shaw, as you can see now, he's now more as an inverted kind of fullback instead of just an out-and-out fullback. And then you split the centre-halves with Andre Onana, De Ligt out on the right, Martinez out on the left, Ugarte and Luke Shaw as that kind of double pivot. And it's now a 3-2, which is more common, and you see that more often than not in the Premier League, whether it be Man City, whether it be Liverpool. You're going to see it a lot as well this season. Brighton, Newcastle, a lot of teams do it, where it's either a 3-2 or a 2-3, where there's 2 centre-halves and then 3 midfielders. But having Onana, especially when we bought him for that reason, being able to build up from the back and being a ball distribution keeper, I think also that benefits him with having 2 ball-playing centre-backs who want the ball as well. But in terms of the strikers, this is kind of where Bruno Fernandes will drop inside, allowing Diallo, as you can see on screen now, to overlap, and being able to kind of whip crosses in as well. But also Joshua Zirkzee to kind of play his natural game, because he's not a number 9, but I think he's not exactly a number 10 either. He's kind of, I don't know, a 9.5 if that is such a thing. But being able to allow Joshua Zirkzee to keep his attacking flair, being able to find the pockets of space just like Bruno on the other side, and linking up now with Garnacho, whether it be Mainu and Luke Shaw on the overlap or underlap, but then also having Rasmus Hojlund. So Rasmus is really, really good at kind of finding the channels, making runs into the channels, especially stretching defences, but also when it gets into the box, he's more of an out-and-out number 9. He'll make those runs to the near post, he'll kind of fake his movement, go back post, but then dart to the front post, trying to get his foot on the end of something, just flick it goalwards. Those are the types of goals you can expect Rasmus to score if he gets the service, which he didn't get a lot in the season just gone. But with that, it kind of complements, as I said. So let's just imagine the ball is out on this right hand side, Fernandes gets it, plays through Diallo, Diallo is down on this right hand side, and he whips a ball in. You just know Rasmus Hojlund is going to get across the near post. Let's say Rasmus misses it, Zirkzee is going to be somewhere around there. He's either going to be on the penalty spot or attacking the 6-yard box. Okay, cool, it misses him. Now you have Garnacho at the back post. This is why I think that having both of them, it could work. It's just kind of being able to figure out how you're going to play that defensively, especially if Bruno isn't one of the quote-unquote strikers and he plays out on the right hand side. Would Bruno be okay with kind of doing the defensive work on this right hand side up and down the pitch if needs be? And I think he could 100%, especially if we end up controlling the ball a lot and then he's able to kind of find and dictate the play from the right hand side. He is definitely a player that likes to drift for sure over to the left and right, which is I think where positional rotation comes into it. Like Cobby being in the middle, he could easily supplement both attacks, whether he be drifting to the right or left, or even just staying in the middle and driving past people. So yeah, this is kind of how I personally think it could be done. Players aside, you could obviously change a lot of players. You could put your own new signings in if you wanted to, but this is kind of the concept where I believe Zirkzee and Rasmus Hojlund could play together and really complement each other, and I hope we get to see it, because for me personally, if you would have watched the other one, I love the idea of a 4-4-2 with these two, with Zirkzee dropping in maybe as a number 10 and kind of linking play, which takes and alleviates that kind of pressure from Rasmus, who wasn't great at it that season, because it's not his strong suit. If you look at him when he was at Atalanta, Rasmus's strong suit was getting in behind, running the channels, crossing the ball, but he also had a strike partnership who was more creative than him. It allowed his partner to kind of drop in, link the play, and then Rasmus was on the end of everything. So I think this kind of unlocks literally everybody's potential in this system. And of course you do have players like Mason Mount, Scott McTominay I assume is going to stay, you have Marcus Rashford, you have people coming through like Harry Amas, Collier, you still got Maguire. There's loads and loads of people who you could put into this system who could theoretically work, along with new signings as well. So you never ever know with Manchester United. But get your comments down in the comments below. And also, if you would change any players, or if you would want certain players to play more this season, make sure you put it down there. I read everything and I reply as well. So yeah, get your comments down below. But this is going to be the end of the video. If you guys could smash the like button, you've been doing awesome so far, and I really appreciate it. It makes making these videos so much better when I see people are enjoying them and sharing the same kind of thought process as me. So that's really cool to see. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit the notification bell so you are notified the next time I do release a video. Like the video also, and comment everything down below. That would be great. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you have an awesome rest of your day, and I shall catch you in the next one. Bye bye.